What is up, YouTube family and folks? This is Kevin's Perspective Podcast, back here with another perspective because everything has a perspective. Thank y'all for dropping in. First off, shout out to Vocal Visions, expressing what is seen to accomplish the dream that is the team. We out here. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. You see the thumbnail, you see the title. I'm not going to waste no time. We got some stuff to talk about. I got a few things to get off my chest here. We got to address a couple things here. So what do I want to start with? Let's start with qualifications, right? And gatekeeping. So there's been a heavy focus and shift lately about qualifying people on what they talk about and qualifying people on who should talk about certain topics and who shouldn't, which in my opinion, I have no problem with that. There should be a level of gatekeeping and discernment when it comes to who's talking about certain topics, especially in these relationship, marital spaces and all these dating spaces and all these other spaces that's on YouTube. So I have no problem with that. Well, my personal opinion overall is that I don't think that anybody is qualified to qualify anybody, but I do understand the concept of it. I do think that it's needed because people are just saying whatever they want to say. Like for real, just radicalism. And it's getting kind of crazy. It's getting out of hand. Everybody can just talk and speak their opinion and speak it as if it's factual and true philosophy. People on YouTube spaces just talking and never even had any experience in what they're talking about. I get it. My thing is, a lot of y'all try to qualify people online that you don't know, but you don't qualify the people in your life that you do know.
My man talking.
It's like, you can say, don't listen to such and such because they've been divorced for however long. But you listen to your mama, though, and she hasn't been with anybody since she split up with your dad.
Talk.
You listen to your dad, but all of your siblings got different mothers. You listen to your best friend, and both of y'all single. You don't even qualify the people in your personal life. So how can you try to qualify people that you don't know? Because the difference between the two is that the people on YouTube, the people online, and on social media, they're one click away from never being in your life again. One click, gone, vanished. You never have to hear from them ever again. But the people in your life are actually a part of your life. And you don't qualify them. And they're giving you all the advice. But from what standard? You can't hold people that you don't know to a standard when you don't even hold the people in your life to a standard. And you can say, well, I can't control the people that's in my life. Well, you can. And even if you feel like you can't, you can control the information you get from them. I'm just talking about the whole sense of trying to qualify people and question people's credentials and question people's, mentalities. And I get it. It's like on one end, I get it. But on the other end, does your life even represent it? Your circle don't even represent the gatekeeping standard that you claim you have. You sit here and say, well, I want a male perspective. Then you go to your brother and he got 6 baby mamas. A male perspective on what? But the whole gist of what I'm saying is don't qualify people online if you can't even qualify the people in your own life. But moving on. I see on these panels, these podcasts, a bunch of married people. They on these podcasts, they talking for hours, episodes, series, videos, all types of stuff. They married, and you don't even know they married.
My man talking.
They talking about everything but marriage. They talking about dating, men ain't shit, baby mamas, baby daddies, drama. They're talking about all types of stuff, everything but marriage. And they the only married one on the panel or on the podcast. I'm pretty sure the host put you on the podcast just for your marriage perspective. And you ain't talking about it at all. One thing I know about people who love their marriage is that you can't go 5 minutes in a conversation without knowing they married. You really can't. It's like you can be sitting there talking about bottled water and they're going to bring their spouse into the conversation some type of way. Y'all can talk about wallpaper and you will know they married by the end of that conversation. It don't matter what the conversation, what the topic is. It does not matter. you will know they married. So it doesn't make sense how I can watch an hour-long podcast and still not know you married, especially if it's about relationships. But you know why people don't know they married? It's because part of it is that means you will have to use your marriage as the example in the conversation, and you don't like your marriage.
Talk.
Let's get to the real of it. They started to remind me of people that you work with that you never knew they were married until the Christmas party or till the office party or something. And you there and they walking up with somebody, you like, yo, who is that? Who they walking with? And they be like, yo, that's her husband. Her what? I didn't know she was married. Yo, man, that's his wife. His wife? What? Yo, the way they be moving around in this office talking to everybody, I didn't even know they was married. That's how they are on these podcasts and these spaces. Never knew. And when they start to notice that you see them that way and start to think that they're not married, that's when they'll bring the conversation up. They'll bring their spouse in. Yeah, you know, me and my husband, we did. You and your husband did what? It feels forced in the conversation. It don't even feel natural in the conversation. It don't even flow that way no more. It don't even flow right. And the way that I go to their social media sites, and the first thing I see is them and no spouse. Then they say, well, you know, I try to keep my personal life private. You know what I'm saying? Try to separate business from family. I'm like, no, you don't.
Stop the cap.
No, you don't. Because your kids are plastered all over your page. You trying to tell me that you publicize your children but leave your spouse private? That don't make sense.
Don't get mad at me. I'm just saying what you can't say. You feel the same goddamn way I feel.
And to be honest, a lot of these wives don't even realize how they help perpetuate baby mama culture, because you go on their social media site and you don't see nothing but motherhood, but you never see her as a wife. No wonder they always feel like they can do it on their own. A lot of these married people still act like they want to be in the streets. Only time you ever know they married is when they put up a post of them for their anniversary and you realize they've been married for 12 years. You like, damn, I didn't know you've been married that long. Can't tell. Bro got a whole family. He up there debating with women. Like, where's your wife? Shorty up there debating with men. Where's your husband at?
My man talking.
How you got all this energy to exude towards other people that you could be putting into your own household? Because it ain't like you talking about anything you going through. But moving on, man. Another thing too, how these hoes in relationship podcasts
Talk.
having conversations on relationships, and y'all straight hoes and don't even plan on getting into a relationship, and you got all the advice in the world. It's not even that you didn't have an experience of a relationship, but you don't even plan on getting into one. And you on podcasts and panels debating with people about their ideologies. Now, I'm not saying you ain't qualified to talk about it. I'm just wondering what your contribution is to this conversation. Why are you even on the podcast? It's a bunch of hoes talking about dating, men and women. And y'all podcasters know they hoes and still bring them on there, asking them, what do you think the solution is for this topic? I'm like, bro, they don't even care about the solution. They just there for the smoke and the look. That's it. That's why all these conversations keep going in circles, because y'all keep talking to people who got rotations. They don't know nothing about stability or consistency, because nothing is consistent except the rotation. I don't know, man. This space is weird. Very weird, bro. You got hoes talking to spouses about relationships. I guess it balances itself out. Sometimes they both look at each other like they want to beat each other. They want what each other has. I guess there's a commonality there somewhere. I don't know. But speaking of spaces, let's talk about the FBI. Please do not flag me. So the FBI, from what I've seen and what I've read and what I've been told, you know, they are calling red pill an extremist phrase or term. They did the same thing with incel, right? They got these different terms that they're calling extremist or extremely violent rhetoric. And when I saw that, I was like, I get it. I saw that coming. That doesn't surprise me at all. But MANOSPHERE is next. It's coming. Black MANOSPHERE is definitely coming. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to put that in the same category as Black Panther as far as an extremist group. And you might ask, well, how can they really put it as an extremist group or an extremist category when there's not any connection to violence, you know, that's attached to it? Well, if you know the history of the FBI, if you know the history of the government, if you know the conspiracy theorists, then you know You know what? If you ever watch Scandal, you know how it works. If you ever seen Olivia Pope, you know how it works. You know that events can get staged, and that once that event gets staged, it can be labeled however it wants to be labeled. I saw a story about a mass shooting, and they labeled the shooter an incel. And I was like, well, that's interesting, because when did celibacy have to do with anything? If they want to label it, they will. And once they label it, it's official. You'll see it plastered on the screen somewhere. Florida man from the Black Manosphere did such and such. We're like, what? It's always a Florida man. We all know that any space created by men is negative until proven otherwise. But while we're on the manosphere, I keep seeing all these videos and conversations about women in the manosphere. And you got all these guys that's mad because women in the manosphere. And I'm like, why? Y'all brought them there. It's y'all fault. Women are only in the manosphere because men brought them there. Y'all the ones that put them on panels and had StreamYard conversations and Zooms. Y'all the ones that did all that. Part of the reason why, especially for the black man, I would speak more about the black manosphere, is that black men were never good at seclusion. Never good at it. Black men automatically contribute or attribute seclusion to discrimination. Anything that's segregated is discrimination, unless it's like a biological restriction or a biological requirement. When I'm talking about like a bathroom, locker room, sports team, something that requires segregation. Outside of that, it ain't happening. A vast majority of the whole space is full of men that were raised by women. So there's a lot of men who can't function in a space that don't have women. So I'm not surprised by that. The space is filled with men who enjoyed hanging out with their mother way more than their dad. The space is filled with guys who going out with the fellas and bring their sister with them. The space is filled with guys who bring their wife to the man cave. You ever been invited to hang out with the fellas and he'd be like, yo, I got the man cave. You know, I just built the man cave. Yo, come hang out. It's just going to be the fellas. It's going to be us. Then you get there and his wife is sitting there. And you just looking like, why is your wife here? Oh, my wife going to watch the game with us. You know what I'm saying? My wife like my best friend, so we do everything together. I'm like, yeah, I understand that. But if I'd known that, I would have brought my wife. Why is man cave on the door? You get there, his wife there, her sister there, the kids running around. I'm like, this ain't no man cave. This is the family room. It's not that women think that men's spaces are bad. Men think that men's spaces are bad. You can't get mad and talk about chameleons and all that. Like, you brought them. There could definitely have been a space for men and a space for women and a space for both, because there are things that men need to talk about that women don't understand, and vice versa. That's all it is. And what I've noticed about a lot of the manosphere, from what I've seen over the past definitely couple of years, is that a lot of the manospheric space has men who are just jealous of women in a way where women have always been able to speak their mind and speak their truth and honesty, and it be accepted. It be received well. And a lot of the manospheric space has a resentment towards their honesty not being received well. There's a certain level of jealousy that comes with watching women's honesty be received while his be rejected. And I think a lot of the manosphere is just a rebellion towards all of it. But it is breeded in jealousy, which explains all of the unnecessary emotions. It is driven by levels of envy. And because it's driven by that, it throws off the delivery. So you deliver way more aggressively than what you probably would have wanted to, because it already has the undertone of resentment. You already come in with a different energy. So women might look at it like, damn, why he's so mad? Why he's so hurt? Why he's so this? Because he wants to be honest, but he's also upset. So the tone is different. The delivery is different, which pretty much goes more into why it's not received well. But anyway, I was going to talk about men's therapy and why a lot of men don't get therapy because of the feminization of therapy. But I want to get into the self-help industry real quick, because for the past decade, this is just my observation. I have no facts, no stats, nothing. This is just me talking. Over the past decade, what I've observed is that we've been in a self-help bubble. It's like everything, all these self-help books, podcasts, coaches, social media sites, everything is self-help, self-care, self-improvement, self-development, self. Everything is self. And this self-help industry on the front end seems to be something that was very needed, and it still is needed, something that helped a lot of people. But on the back end, we're starting to see the effects of it, because what the self-help industry did was a piss poor job at teaching people how to translate or transfer self-development into relational development, self-development with team development. It taught everybody how to go to the court, go to the gym, shoot the ball, learn how to have a better shot, learn how to dribble better, have better endurance, how to find your spot. It taught you all of the individual aspects of basketball, but did not teach you how to play for a team. So now everybody wants to be in a relationship because everybody feels like they've been healed. They feel like they've been to therapy. They've done all this different work, and now they can't get in a relationship to save their life. So they keep going back to their self-help books, but it ain't nothing else to learn from the self-help book. It's about knowing how to be on the team now. So they learn how to shoot, they get on the team, and if they don't have the ball or don't have control of the ball, they're useless. They're helpless. They don't know what to do because somebody else has the ball. And the person who has the ball just holds on to the ball because they don't trust nobody. The person with the ball, when they finally decide to pass it, the other person shoots and they miss, and then they automatically getting kicked off the team. They don't even want to play with them no more. All they did was miss one shot. It was done. Self-help has turned everybody into this individualized version of themselves. Like it's just this microcosm of just soloism, if that's a word. But it individualized society to where everybody is good on their own, but nobody's good with anyone else. You got people sitting at home in remote jobs, working by themselves, talking about they want to be in a relationship. It's like, you know, how you want to be in a relationship, you don't even want to be on a team. You don't even work with nobody. You're not even around nobody. For the majority of your week, you're not even around anybody to talk about wanting to be with somebody. So all these self-help coaches, authors, therapists, counselors, whatever, teachers, social medias, influencers, they all teaching, hey, go work on yourself, level up, do what you got to do for you. Just worry about you. It's like you can work on team development without having to date anybody. You can volunteer at a center somewhere and work with people that you don't know. Learn how to work with strangers. Do you have any team qualities to even want to form a relationship? Just something to think about. Plant that in your head real quick. But that's all I got, man. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Peace out.